So the first thing I wanted to do is congratulate everybody because it has been a phenomenally confusing and difficult and challenging few years. The pandemic hit and we all went through that fear that we were never going to make another penny. And then we went through that. Well, that isn't the fear. The fear is how the heck do we work in this new environment and keep up with it all and understand what's going on. And you guys were the front lines. You guys had to go out and be with people when we didn't know if it was safe to be with people. And you guys did an amazing job of that. And then amazing, that we just got used to that. A lot of you were new agents during that period of time. We just got used to that. And that was all good. And we kind of figured that one out. And then the market blew up and everything changed overnight. And the market did its first major tumble that had done in a decade or two, probably 2 decades that it done. And you all lived through that. And now we've got this reality that we're into a balanced market. And I know a lot of people say, no, it's not balanced, it's this and that. But I've been at this for 40 years. And this is the closest thing I've ever seen to a balanced market in the last 20 years. And this was the market that I grew up in and I chomped my teeth in. So you guys have done a really good job getting to here. And now it's just another layer of shifting and changing that we have to be able to do and learning to be able to integrate with the market that we have now. So congratulations on the work you've done, and let's have some fun getting to the next place. So the world shifted. I love this picture of a Rubik's Cube of the planet because the world has certainly changed, right? The pandemic took everything and shook it up. And now it's trying to resettle in a new way. And you guys have been masters of change through all of that shifting and Rubik's cubing that's been going on. And so there's no reason to think that we can't take that next shift. And it's not just, our real estate that's shifted. I mean, it seems like the whole world, right? The social structure, how we interact with people, what's going on politically, economically, and socially has made really, really significant changes. And that doesn't have anything to do with us. We don't have any control over that, but it's how we adapt to those changes that's really gonna make the difference. I wanted to start off with this kind of cool exercise that's being done in Silicon Valley. So Ariel, we're all meeting by Zoom now. And it's not just us, it's not just real estate agents, it's people all over the world are now meeting by Zoom instead of in person. And how do you connect, right? And so this is like an icebreaker that they're using in Silicon Valley. And the invitation here is take your computer, pick it up and move it and show us what you have on your feet. Now I meant to put my really fancy shoes on and I forgot to. So I'm going to show my feet and they're bare. I have bare feet on with my business clothes, which of course I could never do if I wasn't on Zoom. I want all of you guys to take your computers. I know you think I'm crazy, but I am. So there we go. Take your computers and show me what you're wearing on your feet. Haha, look at you guys. Oh yeah, a whole mix. And you're like, I wish I didn't have my smiley face slippers on. Cool, eh? Everybody's having a good time. I'm watching you all. All right, cool. Some people just took their shoes off because they're like, they have a different solution to the problem. So that was smart. All right, so, okay, cool. So there's our icebreaker. So welcome, we're all gonna have some fun today. But what I thought was so cool about this exercise, so I'm imagining, right, this becomes the normal thing to do in Silicon Valley, right? They like have an icebreaker, and one of the icebreakers that comes up fairly regularly is show us your shoes. Who do you think started this trend? The shoe industry. Because post-pandemic, nobody needs to buy shoes because you don't need shoes for Zoom. And the shoe industry's going, we're not selling any shoes. We should start a trend. And this is what they did. And I thought that was sort of the coolest thing I've learned in the last little while. And that's the kind of stuff we need to be thinking is how do we do stuff? How do we get back to selling real estate? How do we overcome the challenges that we're having in a new world? So I thought that's kind of where we would start with that. So yes, the shoe icebreaker. We're going to try and keep this series of coaching conversations really light because really what's going on in the world is hard. And really what a lot of you are feeling is hard. And so although I'm not going to pretend it's not hard and important, we're going to try and take this sort of light brevity approach to it, which is why we're basing it on this book. And so the first thing I want you to put into the text box is how many times have you read, Oh, the Places You'll Go? Because this has a cult following, this book. Now you may never have read it, in which case you can put 0. You may have read it once because you're taking the course. That's cool. Or you might have read it 100 times. And that's okay too, because I probably have read it 100 times. Dozens, I love it. I'm not sure, but a few. Okay, cool. I have toddlers. I read it 1 million times. So if you haven't read it, It's actually available for free. All you have to do is put Other Places I Go PDF, and it comes up and you can read the whole book for free. And it is the most incredible book for what we're experiencing right now. So I highly recommend you do that. It was Dr. Suze's last book, and it's, I don't know, for me, it's been life-changing. For the kids that I raised 2 families, and for those kids, it's been life-changing. And we still, reference it. We'll be at a dinner party and we'll reference a quote from Other Places You'll Go, because it's that sort of interesting. So we're gonna have that as our backdrop. And the pictures, a lot of the pictures that I grabbed are pictures that I grabbed from the book. So I just screen saved them. So challenges. We did ask you guys, if you registered early, you got an email asking you a couple of questions, and one are, what challenges are you having? And the other is, what does success look like for you? If you registered late, you didn't get the questions, that's okay. But I wanted to just get an overall feel. I'm not going to, this isn't going to be a personal thing like, oh, so-and-so has this challenge and here's how we're going to overcome it. No, that's not what we're doing. But there's a absolute theme to the challenges that people are having. And, of course, it's lead generation, it's mental health, it's getting into activity, it's getting motivated, it's I'm tired, I'm down. But the big one was lead generation, more business, more business, more business. People have unreasonable expectations. It went on and on and on, right? It was without a doubt, the theme was pretty consistent and throughout the answers that I got, which were a lot of answers. And so that was really what I used to inform what we're going to talk about today. And then, this was interesting. I said, what does success in real estate look like for you? And again, fairly consistent, although it did fall into 2 sort of categories. It was one where I want financial success, I want balance, I want security, I want consistency. And another was, I want the opportunity to serve my community. I want the opportunity to help more people. And some people were both, right? And so there is this thing in real estate where some of it's about us. I want to make more money. I want to have more money so I have more security, I have more freedom, win more awards. And the other side of real estate is what we do is incredibly important for the people we do it for. And how do we balance those two worlds out? Right now, it's not just realtors that are suffering with slumping, stuckness, whatever you want to call it. The world is, right? The people that we're serving are also suffering because of the world being such a quickly changing place. And our empathy on that is really important. And trying to do those 2 things simultaneously, where you're managing your own wellness and then being able to serve people who are struggling, is a really tough thing to do. And yet it's doable and it's unbelievably rewarding. So that's kind of where we're going to go with what I found out of that. So I know how to do this. I know how to make money in this market. I know how to help realtors make money in this market, but I do not have a magic wand. I just do not have a magic wand. Poof, it's all going to happen and you're going to put a Facebook post out and then leads are going to come in and you're going to get listings and make money. No, there are a ton of trainers that are telling you that right now. There are a ton of trainers telling you that right now because they're also hurting for money. So they're going to tell you what you want to hear so that you'll give them money so that they will then have money. That's what's going on. I will not do that to you. I do not have a magic wand. I will tell you the truth about what is it that we need to do to have the opportunity to serve people in this market and therefore earn commissions, have freedom, have confidence, have security, get rid of the slumpiness. And so, yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, but you know that because you wouldn't, you guys have, I think, Sam, 2/3 of the people in the group have done something with me before, have done a course.
About that.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't met Sam, Sam's been with me for 4 months now. She's amazing. She is totally running my world. And she's going to be doing the background here, but she's doing all the social media. She's keeping me in line. She's keeping me sane. And we're having a lot of fun. So Sam, say hello to Sam. She's awesome. I'm very,
everyone. Thanks, Suze.
Yeah, so as you guys know, I'm going to tell you the truth, and why not? Heck, you probably want the truth, I would think. So I found this little picture of this little guy, and this was a last minute add-on. Sam and I were doing some last minute strategy just before the course started, and she said to me, Suze, when I started with you, one of the most important things that you told me, one of the things that made all the difference for me, was you told me that I'm going to be outside of my comfort zone a lot because that's the reality of the world, right? That's how you be good at things. If you're in your comfort zone, you're just redoing what you already know. And we all kind of know this on one level, that we have to be outside of our comfort zone to succeed. But I really want you guys to take that in, because right now the invitation is to step outside of your comfort zone so that you can find the new skills and the new mindset and the new perspectives that are necessary to do business in this market. I've had to do it. I don't think you guys have ever seen me work a summer before. I take summers off. I have for the last 25 years. I'm working this summer. Why? Because I gotta. The world's weird and you guys are struggling. And so here I am. It doesn't mean I'm not going to take a week here and a week there and a week there. I'm gonna be present. I have to do things I haven't done before. You guys know I don't run webinars on mindset and perspective. I teach negotiation skills. But what you guys need right now is something that's different than paid negotiation courses. So I'm outside of my comfort zone. When I did the massive sailboat race around Vancouver Island in the last couple of weeks, it was unbelievably uncomfortable, scary as shit, to be honest. But that's what you do, right? If you want to be the best at something, you move outside of your comfort zone, you learn new skills, and then you reach success. So that's an invitation for everyone to say, yeah, I know this. Thanks for reminding me that I want to do that. So for you people that don't know me, which is about a third of the people on the call, who don't know me, I am Suze. I have been in real estate for what feels like ever. I'm here because I love it. For truly, because I tried to leave a couple of times and it didn't work out very well. I missed it. So I was an agent in Toronto, and I struggled. I started when I was 21 years old. I certainly had many of the struggles you guys had. The massive market crash in '89 was as significant as the market crash that we've just gone through. I was a young agent with a lot of debt, and a young family and all sorts of fears. So I'm not, I don't try to help you guys get through this stuff as like some trainer on a podium who like has the world by the tail. I have been in the trenches with you. I coach a lot of people who are in the trenches, and I'm really committed to helping realtors do their stuff. But yes, I have a life outside of real estate as well. I do a lot of sailboat racing, and I like to run around in the woods, and all of those things keep me sane. So a little bit of information about me. So why am I doing this course, and why using Dr. Suess as a background? So I'm doing this course because I'm feeling for the people who are suffering in this market. I know how scary it can be. And I also know that some significant percentage of you can put this back together and start making money again and start serving your communities and start serving your clients. And what does it take to do that? You can't have someone just hammering you and telling you, do this, contact more people, make more calls, build your funnel, because it doesn't work. We know that it actually makes the problem worse. And I'm going to talk to you about that psychology, about why it makes it worse. What we need to do, the first thing is say, hey, sometimes it happens. And the whole Dr. Suess book talks about the ups and downs of life, right? Where you're very optimistic and it's great and you're going to be the best and you go, which for a lot of you happened, right? It happened. You during the pandemic, it was really successful. You made a lot of money. You made a lot of people happy. And then boom, thinking changed. And this is, I think, came down with a lurch, with an unpleasant bump. And the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not having much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. And that part right there, unslumping yourself is not easily done, is something I say to myself a lot. I say to my kids a lot. And I say to my clients a lot, because it doesn't mean it can't be done. It can be done. It can always be done. It's just easy. It's not easy, right? It takes a little bit of work, and it usually takes other people. That idea that you're doing it yourself is often hard. And that's kind of why I like this idea of a group. And Todd had mentioned that maybe we start some sort of a Facebook group or something like that. And Sam and I will be putting our heads together on that, because it just struck me what Todd said probably matters, because doing it by yourself is hard. And so where can we go and find like-minded people that can help us and help each other get back into the groove? So I'm going to get you guys to participate here in the text box. I'd love you to put some answers in here. So how long have you been in real estate? And this is really just to give me an idea of who's in the room here. So put them all in there. I'm going to read them as we go. Tina, while they're doing that, I saw you jumped in there first. My can opener, it's getting worn out. It's almost broken and it's almost like disintegrating. Do you have any more? Do you have like an old stock of those can openers?
That's so funny, Suze. No.
No?
They look like whoopee
I should show you a
cushions,
picture.
right?
When she first talked, first learned with me probably a decade ago. She, sent me a promo
Yeah.
piece. So it's like one of my favorite kitchen things. Okay. So great. Thanks you guys for that. So, a big spread of people here, right? Everything from brand new agents right through till, 25 plus years. So thank you for that. That's really valuable for me because the agents who came in just before the pandemic or in the pandemic are having a different experience than those of us who have been through market adjustments before. And I don't want to only talk to those people who went through the pandemic, but I want to recognize that, they need a bit of a mindset shift. But then some of us agents that have been around for a long time also need a mindset shift on how we're going to do it. So that was super helpful. Okay, the next one is they get harder, by the way. There's 4 questions. They each get harder, of course, right? Because I'm Suze and that's what I do to you. Why did you get into real estate sales? Keep it to 1 sentence, just because otherwise we're going to have this cluttered up chat room that we won't know what to do with. Why did you get into real estate sales? Cool. All I can have time. I mean, I can't read them all in detail here. I'm sort of scrolling through them, but I will look over them because I think it's fascinating. And this gives me really an idea of where we want to go. Okay, cool. Awesome, you guys. So keep putting those in. And then the next question is, this is easy because this is just a yes or no answer. And since you're here, I suspect I know what the answer is, but let's try. Are you willing to do what it takes to succeed? Haha. Someone says, no, no way. No, not me. Okay. And then the final question is the hardest. What do you need to do to succeed that you are not doing now? What is it that you need to do to succeed that you are not doing now? A little slower on the answers on that one, right? So that's a question that I want you to all keep at the forefront this summer as we go through this program and as you do what you do. We want to be, and it's not a judgment thing. It's like, I should be doing this. Don't do that. Don't say I should be or shouldn't be, because that's actually not true. There's nothing you should be doing or shouldn't be doing. But you do want to do what you want to do. And so if you want to succeed, and there are things that you want to do to succeed, because that's how you succeed, you want to keep that front of mind. That's a really important piece, right? Because if your broker, your manager, or your partner, or your trainer, or your coach is telling you should do something, trust me, it makes it harder and harder to do. But if you say, I want to do this, and it doesn't mean you necessarily want to do the activity, but I want to do this because I want to succeed, that it changes the relationship you have with the activity. So we're going to get more into that. And we will take a good hard look at those answers. I got most of them. Which is really good. So here's what I know about the alchemy of sales, right? Is that sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are simple, right? We make it more complicated than it is. And so what I really want to help you guys do is start seeing what is it that we actually need to do. So the industry has decided that you guys, your business is lead gen. Real estate is a lead gen business, and you need to develop funnels and lead gen and magnets and conversions and targets. And all of this stuff is just so incredibly distasteful to us that we create this big negative thing around the sales machine that has been created. And 95% of the training that's available in real estate, think about that, 95% of the training in real estate is about lead generation. And less than 5% is about being good at real estate. So most real estate agents don't even know what being good at real estate means. And it drives me nuts, right? Because I hear that lead gen. I'm like, if you get a lead and you phone me up, so I put my phone number into a website somewhere and you phone me up and you know nothing about how to be a great realtor, I don't hire you. The lead has no value. right? It's not like I'm going to work with you because you called me. You guys know that. But we really need to own that this whole concept that real estate is a lead gen business isn't true. And when we let go of that, that gives us an opportunity to say, what really is it? You know, what is our business and how do we become excellent at it? We all love to hate prospecting. And I just love this picture because honestly, would you guys agree? Like, nod your heads. That's what it feels like. You know, I used to do this skit when I was a newer coach and I was more creative and younger and careless. I'd get up on stage and I'd do this skit about how hard it was to call and how heavy the phone was and all the incredible excuses that we would make about why we wouldn't pick up the phone and make a call. And it was, you know, and it was funny. It was good, but it really made me realize how attached we are to hating prospecting. And that's important. And it's important to understand that. And the reason that we hate prospecting is because the way we're taught to do it is in violation of our personal values. So values are things that we hold dear to us, things that matter to us, our truths, right? What we believe about the world, being a good person, being in service, being honest and authentic, perhaps it's relationships. There's a vast array of personal values. And most of the prospecting that we're taught to do in real estate violates those values. And human beings cannot function when their values are being violated. Right? This idea that we need to work in alignment with our values is critically important to personal success. And every HR person, every highly trained coach, every professional development person would completely know that and agree with that, right? And so why is the real estate industry forcing you to do things that violate your values? Because there's zero chance that it will be successful. And so, you know, what you're feeling is legitimate, right? That stress that you feel about prospecting is legitimate. And so how do we change that? So the first thing is that we need to see the real estate industry differently. Real estate is not a lead generation business. It's a profession. And it's a profession where we're given the opportunity and the responsibility to help people make incredibly important decisions about housing. And housing infects their life. What's going on right now with the world being a Rubik's Cube is a lot of the people who are selling or thinking about buying are under duress, right? They might be selling because they have financial problems or they have health problems or they have marital problems, right? It's all of a sudden, it's not this, oh, joy, we're going to buy a bigger house. Yay. You know, that's not what we're doing. We're doing a situation where they really do need our professionalism to help them at a time that can be quite challenging for them. Sorry, jumping around. My computer does that, jumps around. And so it doesn't mean that you don't have to find people that need your services. Every single business in the world needs to find people that need their services. I have to, as a coach and a trainer. And I'll tell you right now, it's hard to put bums in seats, right? A lot of real estate agents don't have any money. That's the truth. But, you know, Sam and I spend a lot of time putting bums in seats. Banks have to attract customers to give them deposits so that they can lend money out. Right now, they're having trouble doing that, which is why it's hard to get mortgages, right? So it's not just you guys that have to find people to deliver your services to. Every single business in the world needs to find people to deliver their services to. You don't see banks crying, oh, I hate trying to find new clients. And yet realtors, I hate trying to find new clients. It's crazy. We have to stop. We have to see it differently. And yeah, so that's what this is going to be about. So let's do that. So real estate is much simpler than people would have you believe, right? They try to make it so complicated. There are only 5 steps to putting a real estate transaction together. And when you put real estate transactions together, you are successful in real estate. Not that complicated, right? So the 5 steps are, wait, I'm going to go back to that slide. Find people who need to buy or sell or lease real estate. Remember, it doesn't say prospect, it doesn't say cold call, it doesn't say door knock. It says find people who need to buy and sell real estate. That makes sense. What you do for a living is buy and sell real estate. So you need to find people who need to do that. Pretty simple. The next is earn the right to represent them. They don't owe it to you. Just because you're their sister-in-law or your previous client, they don't owe you the business. You need to earn it. Build and execute strategy. So really understanding the market and knowing how to actually trade real estate succinctly and effectively for your clients. Plan and execute the negotiation, right? Have a successful negotiation. That's hard right now. In many cases, it's quite challenging right now, but that's what we do. And then complete the transaction, which in some cases is quite simple. In others is a little bit more complicated. If you do those 5 things, you make a deal. You do those 5 things a couple of times a month, you make a living. Does everybody agree that those 5 steps are really all it takes to be successful in real estate? And so go ahead and put that in the text room. Agree or disagree? Just agree or disagree. Simple. Perfect. So nobody disagrees, or the people that disagree just aren't putting it in the text box, which is cool. So that's an invitation to say anything that you're doing that doesn't contribute to one of these 5 steps, stop doing it. How's that? That feels good, eh? Just stop doing it. And then you can enjoy your summer more because you won't be doing all this stuff that doesn't matter, right? That just isn't a part of it. We'll go back to this slide, which I jumped over. I love this slide. So comfortable lies or unpleasant truths. I have never seen in the whole 38 years I've been in real estate, I have never seen so much deceit in advertising to you guys. There are so many people telling you easy ways to get clients and build your business. They're telling you what you want to hear, and they're getting paid a lot of money for that. 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 30,000. You know, there's a lot of training companies out there that are telling you what you want to hear and giving you comforting lies. And I'm going to give you the unpleasant truth, which is that you actually merely have to have conversations with people, and those conversations have to be meaningful. And how you have those conversations is what we're going to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I've just heard too many people complaining like, oh yeah, I signed up for this great program. It promised the world and delivered nothing, right? So you really need to do your diligence, because money's a little hard to come by right now, and you need to be really careful with it. Okay, so step 1, which is where you guys are having most of your challenges. So it's where we're going to spend our time today. We may shift out to a different place for the other sessions, but for today, we're going to talk about step 1, which is finding people who need to buy or sell real estate. And we need to stop doing this conflicted, terrible, I don't want to do that. We need to stop doing that, because if that's how you feel, you're not going to attract any clients. So how do we get out of this? So you guys who have worked with me before know that I just say, oh, just have meaningful conversations with people about real estate. It's so easy. And they're like, it's not easy. But if we change our perspective, and so the first important thing is to call them conversations instead of calls. Write that down. Because when you change your language, you change your attitude. And when you change your attitude, you start to attract clients. Right? So the very first step is having conversations instead of calls. You're having conversations with people instead of prospects or leads. These are people. These are people who are challenged in life. These are people who have stuff going on, who are looking for someone to connect with and help them. So don't call them leads and don't call them prospects. They're people. They're human beings who really, in many cases, need your help. So that's the first thing. All right. So we go from there. I'm just seeing where I'm going to go. So not calls, shift language. Okay. The other thing is what it says here is have meaningful conversations. That's a really key piece of this descriptor. And these conversations need to be meaningful to them, not to you. This is not a chance for you to show them how great you are or how much you know. This is an opportunity for you to understand what they're experiencing. So this is meaningful to them, not to you. If you do this, if you have real conversations that are meaningful to them with real people, you will attract clients. So changing your language is the first step. Does anybody feel like this? I was going to do a little bit. I was going to do the deer in the headlights, but I was like, no, this is actually, we're not deer in headlights because we're not going to get hit by a Mack truck. But yeah, there's a lot of people like, I don't know what to do, and social media, and then this, and the other thing, and I should call, and I don't want to call, I don't want to bug, and I'm spinning and spinning. And what results from that is we do nothing, which is exactly the definition of a slump, right? Inaction. And so how do we untangle? So that it's deep psychology that's causing the slump. Don't pretend it's not. People say, oh, if I join an accountability group, it'll be all good. No, it's deeper than that. Right? What's going on inside a real slump is deeper than what simply accountability will help. Accountability is great because it keeps you interfacing with it, right? It keeps you alive with interfacing with the challenge, but it's not the answer. So here's the thing. We call it a resistance, right? I'm resistant to doing calls. I'm resistant to having conversations with people. So what is resistance, right? Resistance is quite real. So if we go into the definition of resistance in terms of an electrical field, it kind of is telling to us, right? So when you increase the force, you increase the resistance in an electrical system, right? Increase the amount of force going into the system, it increases the resistance. And that's one of the reasons that electrical stuff is kind of complicated, because you have to not do that, and you have to have fuses and stuff to make sure that doesn't happen. So it's the same thing in psychology. When you increase the force, when someone tells you, you must call this many people, you must knock doors, you must do this, you must do that, whether that's a coach or a manager or, you know, a business partner or a mastermind group, it increases your resistance. It actually makes it harder to do. And I'm going to bet that that's resonating with some people. They go, yeah, it seems like it's getting harder over time, not easier. What's going on with that? It's because of this sort of reality of nature. And it creates, oops, sorry, it's jumping around again. It creates cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is, I know it's a little bit of a neck, don't worry, I'm going to bring you right back up once we go through this little psychology lesson here. Cognitive dissonance is caused by conflicting attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors that call it mental discomfort. Okay, everyone will go, yep. And this mental discomfort results in anxiety, distraction, and avoidance. That's what slump is, right? Slump is a result of cognitive dissonance. And pretending it's something else isn't going to fix it. And the only way to get through cognitive dissonance is to resolve the dissonance and reestablish balance. And then the thick discomfort goes away, and we start to get into action, and we start to enjoy what we do again. And as soon as we get there, then right, we're going to start to attract clients again. So this is all very real. What most people do when they experience cognitive dissonance is they make themselves busy with meaningless stuff. And meaningless stuff is power watching Netflix, or drinking, or playing on YouTube, or playing games, or, you know, it's doing something that isn't benefiting you as a human being, as a person. It also isn't benefiting your family, and it's not benefiting your business. And I bet that some significant percentage of us could go, I'm doing some of that because I know I am, right? I've been power watching Netflix. I was down after the race and I power watched Netflix. I've never done that in my life before. And it's avoidance, right? And so that's a good, when you start seeing yourself wasting that kind of time doing meaningless stuff, to question, well, what's really going on here? And how do I maybe lessen that dissonance? Because I'm not saying you have to work all the time, but if you're not going to work, do something you like, right? Work in the garden, play with your kids, go on a hike with your partner, like do something that's like meaningful, as opposed to messing around with the digital technology, which is what we tend to do when we step away. So now you guys, wait a minute, I love my social media. All my leads, all my business comes from social media. So I'm going to get you guys to put into the text room. How many people, how many deals have you had that resulted from social media posts? So that's attracting a client who then converted into a transaction. Okay, so you guys get the idea. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's possible, but it's really hard. It's a really hard way to build business. And it's just as hard as any other way, right? Because if you're going to use social media to track business, what you have to do is create social media that allows you the opportunity to have meaningful conversations with people about real estate. That's how it works. So it's just a tool. And yet, how many of you have considered writing a big check to a trainer who's going to teach you the magic of how social media will make your life super simple? You'll have more business than you know what to do with if you just follow my template. Write me a check for $7 grand. Empty promises, right? So I'm not saying it never works. I'm saying it's really hard. It's just as hard as any other way. But if you can find a way to use social media to open up the opportunity to have meaningful conversations with people about real estate, awesome. Okay, so cool. So I don't want to down, because we do social media. You guys know that, right? We do lots of it. So it's not an anti-social media. It's just a reality check about what it takes to get clients. Okay, we're gonna do a quick breakout here. How are we doing on time? Man, time goes fast. Okay, quick breakout. I'm gonna put you in groups, and you are going to come up with 5 ways, each group come up with 5 ways to have meaningful conversations with people about real estate. So, you know, you could do like old school, oh, door knocking, cold calls, call past clients, call my sphere. Great. But you know what? We all know those ones, and we're probably having trouble doing those ones, or you wouldn't probably be here in the coaching session. So we're going to come new ways that we can have conversations with people about real estate. And what we're going to do is when we come back, we're going to share them in the chat room, and Sam's going to put a list together for everybody. Feel free to start putting in the chat room, just one-liners, not huge sentences. So we keep the chat room pretty succinct. Feel free to add ways to have meaningful conversations. Like book club, fundraiser. So just start putting them in there. And as the people come in, I'll keep inviting them to do that.
Back.
I'll start.
Oh. We didn't do 5.
Okay, we got everybody back. Yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, good work, you guys. And I know it was short, and all of that. And I only got to drop into each group for a couple of seconds there, but it was nice to say hello to everybody. What we want to do is we want to collect these ideas and we'll put them in chat room. And then Sam is going to put them together and send them out to you as a list. So just put the one word, right? Like don't go, oh, I would, because obviously our chat room will be messy. So just, right. I started off and I put free coaching sessions. So why do you guys think I'm doing free coaching sessions? Yeah, it's because I love you, but it also means that a few new people will come into my circle that I will have an opportunity to have conversations with, right? This is what we do. So what do you guys do? Sue was muted, so no one could hear, right? So let's see, go to free events, Facebook neighborhood page. So put them all in there and then we will collect them. And next week, when we have our next session, we'll talk about them and some of the ways you can do them and some of the resistance that you have around them. And, there's a preliminary conversations I have with people. I'm worried that I'll get rejected. Yeah, you might. But we're going to talk about the psychology about all of that stuff, because honestly, they're never rejecting you. They just don't need a realtor. It's no big deal. But it's hard to think about being no big deal because in your inner world, it feels like a big deal. So yeah, so we'll put all of those in there. I think that's really great. And I want to move on. So this is a slide I found for a speech I was doing a little while ago. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. I'm going to tell you guys for sure. Oops, sorry, jumping ahead. Without a doubt, it's hard right now. I get it. It's hard. There are fewer transactions happening and each transaction is harder to put together. And the prices are down. So the amount of commission in the system is off by about 40% over what it was at the peak of the pandemic. And there are more realtors because a whole bunch of realtors came into the business during the pandemic. And more realtors are coming in because it's one of the last areas where you have potentially unlimited income that has a pretty easy entry. So I'm not going to pretend that this is going to be easy, but it's doable. Like, this is what I know. And whether you're a brand new agent for a few months or a couple of years, or you came in the pandemic and you didn't have a chance to learn anything about balanced markets, or you've been in this for 28 years and you're reinventing yourself. What I know for sure is that you're willing to do the hard work. There is still an amazing living to be had in real estate. And it's a gift, right? It's an amazing gift. I've been in it for 38 years. Some of those years have been incredibly hard. But some of those years have been really great. I've got to serve amazing people. Like right now, I get to serve amazing people and I have some life balance and I get to do some of the things that are important to me outside of my work as well. So it is worth it. But work isn't just putting the hours in. Work is going deep inside and seeing what your blocks are. What is it that you haven't learned? What else do you need to know and do and overcome to be that successful realtor? It's hard work. But of course it is. And whether you want to be good at real estate or, international sailing or art or music or relationships or anything you want to be good at, it's going to be hard. And owning that is kind of freeing because you're like, oh, okay, right. It's going to take some discomfort and some work and some imagination and some creativity to be really good at this. The other 5 steps, which we'll get to at various times, if you guys desire, I'm going to be getting lots of feedback from you guys so that each session is kind of what you need in the moment. But we said about the 5 steps. The first one's to find people who need to buy and sell real estate. The second one is to earn the right to represent them, right? They don't know you're the business. And that's becoming more and more true that people are not necessarily listing with whoever shows up. They're interviewing 2 or 3 agents and making a decision based on professionalism. Then being able to build a strategy to be successful in either finding them a house or getting their house sold. That's not as easy as it used to be. Planning and execute negotiations. Many of you have taken negotiation courses. It is a critical skill right now, without a doubt. For sure, some deals are going together easily, but a huge amount of deals take a lot of work and a lot of negotiation skills. And then finally getting your deals closed because you've got conditions and second negotiations. And in some cases, you've got the psychology of buyers. We're not going to cover that today. I just wanted to let you know what else is in store for the 5 sessions coming. But again, you guys will lead what we cover in the next sessions. What I want you guys to work on this week, because, right, it's coaching. This isn't me teaching. This is me like trying to coach you guys, but there's a lot of you. So I'm trying to, how do I do this so it's really valuable for you? And so the invitation is to work on 3 things between now and next Thursday. The first one's mindset, the second is perspective, and the third is having meaningful conversations. So if we go into that, so mindset is how you perceive the world. What are you thinking? What is your thought pattern? We cannot solve the problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And so if you're sitting there going, oh my God, the market's terrible and everybody's sitting on the fence and mortgages are hard to get, and the news says we're entering a recession and there's terrible things happening in Russia. If you keep reiterating that over and over and over again, that will create that mindset that real estate cannot be bought and sold in this market. The truth is deals are happening. Quite a few deals are happening. They are happening. And so, you know, when you start, and I'm not saying ignore the news or ignore the reality. I'm just saying, just don't focus on it. Just saying some people are moving. Why are they moving? And how can I connect with them? So mindset is everything. I have a little plaque on my desk when I'm coaching that says the biggest difference between the highly successful and the mediocre is mindset. Because I coach mindset, not actions, because mindset is where all change happens, not in actions. So I want you guys to, you know, dig into some of the mindset. Most of you have probably done some mindset work at a time. This woman is the expert in mindsets. She's written the book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. I've recommended it to many of you who are in this. It's been life-changing for me. And I know for a lot of you, it's been life-changing. It's a great book. If you need some summer reading that can shift all of this for you, this is a great place to go. Meryl Lee will be joining me live September 7th for an hour. And what we're going to talk about is her mindset brilliance and my ability to apply that mindset brilliance into real estate. So it's gonna be really fun. Probably it's free, but you probably should register for it because I have the feeling it's going to get super stupid full. So you should probably register for that. You can do that on the website. So that's mindset is number 1 thing that you're going to work on this weekend. The next is perspective. And perspective is, you know, it's so interesting. It's like, start looking for the solutions as opposed to the problems. And where this came from for me, when I was a young girl, my grandmother was exactly like me, only way bitchier. You know, way bitchier than me, but pretty much the same. She kind of looked the same as I did. We're kind of the same shape. And she said to me when I was a little girl, oops, jumping around here. I was a little girl and I said, I can't do that. I think I was 7. She was, what do you mean you can't do that? I don't ever want to hear you say you can't. What are you talking about? There's lots of things I can't do. She was like, what? I go, I can't touch the ceiling. You know, I'm 7, right? I'm a little munchkin. And she goes, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm really sure I can't touch the ceiling. And she goes, you can't think of any way that you could touch the ceiling. And I'm like, well, I guess I could get that chair and I could put it on top of that table and I could climb up. And I'm like, oh. And she says, oh, there is always a way you can. It's just that we default to looking, because there's 100 reasons why you can't. There's always 100 reasons why you can't do something. All you have to do is find the one reason why you can. And that's looking for the solutions instead of the problems. So how can you do this? If you start looking for that, it's amazing. It will show up. And then the final piece is having meaningful conversations about real estate. And I'm really going to challenge you guys. Whoops, sorry, it's again jumping around. Poof. Having meaningful conversations about real estate. And these aren't calls. You might have them on the telephone. You might have them by Zoom. You might have them walking down the street. You might have them in a book club meeting. You might have them at the side of the soccer field. There's 10,000 opportunities to have conversations with human beings. Don't make it so hard. And we're going to put that list together that people came up with. And then meaningful, and this is really important, that it's meaningful to them, not to you. You're asking them if they have any inquiries about real estate. Do they have any curiosities? Is there anything you can help them with? And, you know, your communication skills that many of you learned with me and continue to learn or learned outside. It's really important in now when everybody's really having a bit of a harder time to truly ask meaningful questions and then shut up and listen and hear and feel and experience what that other person is feeling, hearing, and experiencing. And that brings up the human connection, which builds the trust, which means they open up and you know, someone's not going to say, you call them up and say, yeah, you're thinking about making a move? Oh yeah, I can't believe it. We're going bankrupt and my husband has cancer and yeah, we need to sell our house. They are not going to say that to you unless you build a whole lot of love and a whole lot of trust and a whole lot of faith and belief that you're a good person who's going to support them safely. So when I say meaningful conversations, I'm not kidding. None of this scripted bunk that you've been learning. Truly connect with the human being so that they feel safe telling you what's actually going on in their life. And you'll be amazed at how many people are going to have to move in the next year because people haven't been moving. And things are going on. Things are still happening in life. People are having babies. People are dying. People are getting sick. People are losing money, making money. Changes are happening. People need to move. And you need to be the one that they open up to about that so that you have opportunity to help them. So there's an invitation here on the bottom. How many will you have? And I am not going to hold you accountable. All I want you to do is write down how many you're going to have and hold yourself somewhat accountable to that. To give you an idea, my one-on-one clients that I work with, on average, they have the assignment of having 25 conversations per week. It's hard to do. But if you want to make 300, 400, 500 grand a year, that's kind of how many you have to have a week. It's a big step if you're having none now and you're stuck. So I'm not saying 25. I'm just giving you a benchmark about what agents who are making comfortable livings are doing. So it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 25. You can put it in the chat room if you want, but the big thing is I want you to write it down for yourself. And I really want you to stretch outside your comfort zone and reach that goal. That's what I really want you to do. And the big thing here is meaningful, meaningful, meaningful. Okay, so we got that part. There's always a little pitch attached to anything free, but it's not much of a pitch because I know a lot of people don't have money and that's cool. It's all good. But here's the programs that we offer. We've got the negotiation courses, which many of you have taken one or both of, the old CNE courses being replaced by the ARE and PREN. It's great. We have negotiation group, the group training, group coaching. The ARE is prerequisite. This is a super cool program. If you're at all interested, it's actually quite affordable. I'm not going to pitch it here. And we have the accredited real estate coach if you want to become a coach. So I just want to let you know what we have. You can go to the website. Sam will put the website in here, or you can email Sam if you're interested in any of the paid programs. And if money's really tight, don't bother. I get it, right? You don't want to borrow money at this time. You want to, you know, I'll keep running free stuff to help people get back into making money. Our next coaching session, all of the places you'll go. Oh, the other assignment is if you haven't read all the places you'll go and you'd like to be a part of the next coaching sessions, I really recommend you read it because I think we're going to be referencing that more closely now that we kind of get an idea of what our work is all going to be about. So I recommend, and like I say, there's a free version of it. But our next coaching session is next Thursday at the same time. We're going to send you out a questionnaire. It will only have, again, 1 or 2 questions. And the idea of the questionnaire is actually really important. I will build the session based on what's in the questionnaire. I promise that, you know, that's kind of what I get to do. So if you don't contribute to the questions and then the coaching session doesn't hit on what's important to you, I can't help you. So please take a few minutes, answer the questions that Sam's going to send out to you. And that ends our formal thing, but I am going to shut the recording down so that people feel maybe a little bit more safe. And if you have questions about what we've covered today or something in your business, I'm going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes being able to deal with those questions. But no new product, if you're no new content, if you want to go, and that's all good. And we'll just have a casual Q&A.